Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. Like most of you, I've done projections, estimates, forecasts, predictions on what Tesla will do over the next decade in terms of revenue, profits, and everything I can possibly try and evaluate. And whenever I do this, it's very easy for the numbers to run away and get absolutely insane. What we all seem to believe is there will be a reasonable possibility that Tesla will hit profits over $100 billion. Or even hundreds of billions of dollars over the next 5 to 10 years. Tesla products are in so much demand though. Tesla will simply reinvest these profits back into the company and build more factories and continue to expand the business. Except, how do you reinvest over $100 billion or more every year? And how would you even do it cost effectively? Surely it's likely even Tesla would struggle with that, right? Well, let's discuss what Tesla might do if and when they achieve that level of success. We can talk about investment opportunities, and perhaps even when we might one day expect dividends. Yes, dividends, right, that's a thing. I forget about those, and literally haven't really factored any of that in. But yeah, there might be enough income there alone one day to live on. I actually can think of several ways how Tesla actually could invest that much money for a considerable time still, until eventually the profits will just explode even further, and it will be beyond fathomable. Firstly, we have robotaxis. Now, as hard as these are to believe, it's highly possible they will become a thing, and it's Tesla's customers' cars who will be contributing to the fleet for robotaxis. Tesla and the customer then share the revenue generated from the taxis. This ends up being a reasonable return on investment for any Tesla owner who is willing to let their car out as a robotaxi. But why would Tesla want to share this profit if they didn't have to, given that it's such a good return? Well, say if Tesla wanted 1 million cars in their robotaxi fleet and it cost Tesla $20,000 per car, then that's $20 billion, a lot of money for Tesla currently, when they have other investments they want to make. And the Model 2 factory might make closer to 5 million cars a year, which would be $100 billion. Now that is a lot of money. Therefore, it makes sense to get consumers to help at the start. But like we're saying, in this scenario, Tesla has too much profit to invest in factories. Therefore, they can start using some of it to build their own robotaxi fleet. They will need to create their own infrastructure to do this though, as the other Tesla owners who are letting their cars out in the fleet do provide value to the network. They offer the cars somewhere to park when they're not being used, they make sure they're charged, maintained and kept clean, which is a bit of a logistics nightmare. Tesla will need to have centres for the robotaxis fleet, places to park all these cars, keep them maintained and clean. The cars can likely charge themselves from robotaxi charging stations too. But eventually, there will come a time when there are enough robotaxis on the road and thus no need for Tesla to invest in more. In addition to that, these robotaxis are dramatically increasing Tesla's profits again, with perhaps 100% annual return on every single taxi deployed. So if Tesla invests $10 billion into taxis, then they get $10 billion back, again, every year, aside from all the other initial infrastructure investment. Therefore, although Tesla will be able to reinvest a lot of their profits into robotaxis, it won't take long before these investments will start coming back in spades. So really only a temporary solution there. But Tesla is an energy company that happens to sell cars or something, right? Well, let's look at the energy business then. Tesla could start buying their own megapacks and then use them for energy arbitrage, buying and selling power. Now, Tesla kindly show us their prices of megapacks, and it's $850 million for 3 gigawatt hours, which is $280 million per gigawatt hour. But Tesla will have huge margins, especially by this stage. In fact, they're likely at around $30 per kilowatt hour at the pack level. But even if we increase that to $100, including all other associated costs, then we come to a cost of $30 million per gigawatt hour. Okay, let's go extra conservative and round it up to $50 million even. Well, if Tesla invested $100 billion a year into that, then that comes to 2 terawatt hours of energy storage a year. Now remember, this is just $100 billion. What if Tesla have already bought all the robotaxis they need, and all this profit can enter into this? I mean, Tesla could be on $300 billion profit, implying 6 terawatt hours of batteries a year. It won't take a few years until Tesla would control 20 terawatt hours of battery storage themselves, which probably isn't too far off what the world requires, particularly when supplemented with Powerwalls. That's even if Tesla can find enough people to make enough batteries to keep up with the capital they're investing. Either way, after a couple of years, the income would be up again significantly, making it an even harder struggle to invest. But why stop there? What if Tesla also invested in solar power to supplement their battery business too? If it's about $1,000 per kilowatt for solar, then it's $1 billion per gigawatt. At $100 billion invested a year, that gives 100 extra gigawatt hours of solar power every year. If 100 gigawatts of solar produced 1 terawatt hour a day, discounting non-sunny days, then we might see 300 terawatt hours of energy a year. It's likely Tesla would put them somewhere there is a lot of sun, perhaps the Mojave Desert near the Gig of Nevada. The US consumes about 4,000 terawatt hours a year, so it would be about $1 trillion for enough solar for the US. Tesla may be able to produce the solar panels at a lower cost than this though, but you get the idea. Even after 5 years, with all this other accumulation of profit by Tesla, buying their own products and using them for themselves to keep 100% of the profit, eventually they will run out of places to invest. Again, this is assuming the entire time there are the resources available to grow and expand at this rate. But by the time that is completed, then Tesla will have so much profit, I think we're beyond being able to think how it might be spent. And then we might finally start seeing dividends. I mean, not that we'd really care that much by this stage, as Tesla's stock price has probably gone to $50,000 a share, which means that it is possible we may not see any dividends until next decade. But Tesla are not messing around. They're serious about transitioning the world, and this is what needs to be done. All these batteries need to be built and deployed. Tesla are going to do what they can to move to renewable energy. This is their mission. Should we be surprised that they'll eventually do it themselves when they can afford to, and they have their supply chain and manufacturing in order? I mean, vertical integration is at the heart of this business. The only next logical step would be to stop selling the product and just offer the service. From extracting the raw ingredients from the earth through mining, to eventually selling them as a service for energy and transport. Tesla have their missions to complete. There was no inkling of any dividends before they were complete. Investing in Tesla is not a passive income play. It's a capital gains play. But if even a tiny fraction of any of this eventuates, well, our shares are worth probably 10 times as much anyway. How fast can this be achieved? Well, why do you think Elon cares so much about manufacturing and works so hard on its processes? And then when people see just how profitable it can be, then perhaps more great minds will also be involved. There is also another way I can think of to spend the profits. Tesla could buy out the Boring Company. The Boring Company could be as big as Tesla, if it was capable of producing tunnels as fast and cheap as Elon says. There'd be a lot of tunnels to build. This would cost an enormous amount of money to build the infrastructure. Using the proceeds from Tesla might be what is required. On the other hand, Elon might be able to self-fund the whole thing himself through his Tesla dividends. Of course, Tesla could always venture into other products in the meantime too, like personal robots maybe. Tesla sure gave us a lot of hope at least, for a cleaner, better, safer future. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.